Over the last few months, we have been busy getting the Merricks Garage light rack into production for you guys. Taken my original design and basically overhauled it and changed the whole mounting system and the size and height and what it can do. And I'm super stoked on how this has come out. In this week's episode, we're going to be going through all the fit, the features, the functionality of the rack. I'm going to show you how to install it and hopefully answer any questions that might come up. If you have followed Merricks Garage for any time, you will know that I have a deep love for the Squarebodies, obviously. I love how they look. I love how they respond to modifications. I love the utilitarian practicality of them. There's so many things I could go on and on about them. But in the back of my mind, whenever I do some sort of modification, yes, obviously function is going to lead form. But if I can create something that not only functions well, but also complements the form of the truck, then it's a win-win. We all know that lighting on these 40-year-old trucks is never the most so superb, especially when you go off-road. Your high beams aren't going to cut it. And I went through all the various different iterations of lighting. I've done cheap Chinese LED pods. I've done light bars that I mounted under the core support behind the grille. I've done spot beams up front. I've tried LED. I've done it all. And some worked, some didn't. But when I partnered with KC Hilites several years ago, I knew my days of poor lighting were over. The light that this guy puts off and these Flex Era 4s put off is just it's astounding. It really has to be seen to be believed. But when I received the bar, I knew that I was going to have my work cut out for me. I had my eyes on Loki, which is BJ Baldwin's K5 Blazer. It's a pre-runner Blazer, just fully hand-built, gorgeous truck. And he had a light rack that was mounted on the top, very much like you see in Baja pre-runners. This is what I want it to look like. It raises the bar where it's not in your peripheral vision while you're driving it. You don't really see the bar. It's high enough that it's going to cast a good wide beam. It's angleable or angled. You can angle it so that you can reduce the glare. I have minimal glare off the roof. And it looks pretty good if it's done right. So I set apart building, and I've got a ton of my templates here. But let's see. That one's on the floor now. But where is my OG? Here it is. This is the OG bracket I had up on my roof. And as you can see, it was hand bent in my garage using a vise and brute force. And this worked well. This held the light bar right where I wanted it. I ended up spot welding it onto the gutter of the truck. And I ran this for quite a few years. I got a lot of requests from you guys, like, are you guys ever going to make those things? Are you going to produce that? And I kind of avoided it for a while, like I did with the seat brackets, because I underestimated the market for these things. So after hearing it from enough guys, I took this design and I started fine-tuning it and tweaking it and creating cardboard templates and then like 20-gauge templates and then full-size templates that I played around with for the last 6 months, trying to get something that was easy to install, something that mounted the light where it was going to be most practical, and something that looked good. I'm super stoked on where we have landed. I've got the final up on the roof. It's tied together by a piece of 80/20 extruded rail that gives you more mounting options. I didn't want this just to be a light bar. I wanted it to be the foundation for something where you could throw recovery gear up there. You could mount antenna or cameras or ditch lights too. There isn't a whole lot of real estate to be mounting things like we don't have good areas to put ditch lights right at the bottom of the A-pillar or anything like that. So if I could design my light rack to kill 4 birds with 1 stone, then all the better. And that's what I've done. I'm really happy with it. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how it installs. It does require 4 holes to be drilled in your roof, just 9mm holes with an M6 nut cert that goes in. We're going to get into all that. I'm going to show you guys how I installed it. give you a bunch of up-close looks on it and link you to the website where it is for sale. Here we've got the two options for hardware that the bracket will ship with. The first one is the one that ships free. This is the standard M6 nutsert with an M6 insert, Allen head that's tightened by a 5mm bolt. Then you've got a 6mm M8 for the crossbar. Both kits are going to ship with these high durometer rubber bushings that go between the rack and the body of the truck. I've also got the option of these Torx, security Torx inserts. It's going to ship with the driver and with the security Torx and the same rubber bushings. And also there will be an option if you want to go to a locking Torx up there, but it will require two different keys. But that option is available. Locking hardware on both sides. I've got it over there also, and this is going to give you an idea. You can see the rubber bumper. Let's pull it close in underneath. You don't need to run this guy if you don't want to. It's just to give you some extra clearance, and you'll see that the rail is going to sit really nice on there. There should not be anything touching. The key is going to be giving your light bar, whatever you put up here, depending on its weight obviously, give it some sort of support. That can come off this if you'd like. There is a slot underneath this bracket. So this bracket right here, this extruded 80/20 piece, this is slotted on the sides and the bottom. So you can clock this as you need fit. If you want to have the access to the slot on the top, you're just going to rotate this 90 degrees. And the same thing all the way on the other side. But what's cool about having the T-slot the way it is, it allows you to run more lights and accessories in the gap under here. I'm using this as my ditch light mount. So you'll see I do have an M8 locking Torx right here. But this is the original test. This is the first truck that I drilled the riv nuts onto. And I'm pleased to say that this thing went on rather easily and still looks totally dope. I'm very happy with how this has come out. I hope you guys like it as much as I do. Obviously, you're going to have to route some wires from the lights down into your cab or engine bay. And I find the easiest way to do it is with this KC Hilites hider. This is a cable hider that just, well, it comes with adhesive, but I just super glued it on here, and you can't really see the cable. It tucks away nicely, nice and protected, and I just run it down right here into the engine bay and then out to my switch pros. This is the 80/20 rail that is used to connect the driver side and passenger side. It's 1.5 inches. It's going to be tapped for an 8mm bolt right here. You're going to have the option of running all kinds of hardware on it if you want to. This guy will key in, giving you a nice mounting point for lights, antenna, cameras, tie down points, whatever you want. There's going to be a rail slot on top and on the side, depending on how you orient this. I went with one that has two sides because if you're not going to be running anything off it, it's nice to have this clean Sano look. And if you do want to run some stuff off it, like I ran my ditch lights, run them down below, and you have a nice clean point to hide all the wires and mount your lights. We've really focused on complementing the lines of the square bodies. And you can see here, this line for the rack is going to mirror the curve of the roof, keeping it minimal, like reducing the height of the overall rack, but also tracing this contour to give it a seamless look, but also keep it off of the rail itself, so you got no rattling or annoying noises. After trying several different configurations and sizes, I settled on 59 inches across. So the 80/20 rail is 59 inches long, and that was for a couple reasons. First, it would allow us to fit the widest variety of light bars and light racks and light systems out there. Having 59 inches between the right and left passenger and driver side gave us that opportunity, but also, more importantly, possibly, was the fact that it kicked the light out of the side of the windshield and basically cleared completely, which leads to it having better lines, following the flow of the roof quite a bit better, and giving you plenty of room to mount whatever lights you choose. Carl has graciously agreed to be a Merricks Garage model. He's gonna let us drill some holes on the roof of his K5 to show you guys how to install this light rack. Super simple, but there are some steps you need to follow, and you need to make sure that when you're seating the riv nuts, you're doing it correctly. They are very, very strong when they're installed correctly and very, very weak when they're installed incorrectly. So let's show you guys how to do that. And we're gonna use this beautiful white truck and Carl's mechanical abilities to get this thing done. There are some exacting dimensions that you need to be aware of when you are installing this rack. You do want to make sure that you are drilling through the exact center of the mounting holes, and so your riv nuts will line up. This is a set of transfer punches that will enable that to be done very easily. Instead of guessing as to where the center of that hole might be, you're going to find a transfer punch that's going to be the corresponding size to the hole on the bracket. It will drop in through the bracket and allow you to mark the metal on the roof where the center of the hole is, where the drill bit's going to go, and therefore you're going to line up all of those riv nuts exactly in the center of the bracket holes. These things can be found on Amazon for like 20 or 30 bucks. And it's a great kit to have in your toolbox. You'll find yourself pulling them out all the time. With the side plates and the center section bolted together, go ahead and get it up on the top of your truck. Before you get to that stage though, I would recommend taking some masking tape and just masking off the whole area of the truck that you think the rack might touch, just to save your paint. This is where it's going to be useful to have two sets of hands to line this guy up on your roof. You're gonna find that it's gonna basically key itself in, but with two guys you can make sure that it's sitting nice and level. How's your side looking, dude?
So the inside line of this edge is right on the rain gutter.
Okay, the outside edge is right on the rain gutter on my side.
Your way.
Yeah, sneak it over just a hair. I'm sitting right on the rain gutter.
Yeah, right on the arc here is sitting right over top of the rain gutter.
Let's take a. Yeah, that's looking really close. So there's still some room to wiggle with it a little bit, but now that we have this guy in place, can you hold the transfer punch, Mark? And just put it through. Okay. Okay, let's do the other one.
Can't see.
So here's the one mark right here. Get the transfer punch in.
Oh, now I see him.
So the great thing is you've got the center of the hole here. You don't have it slightly off axis or not quite. You've got both identical, which is going to be important when you put those riv nuts in. Okay, there's our nutsert before it has been seated. Now we're going to use this nutsert tool. Now this is reverse threaded, so clockwise is going to unscrew, counterclockwise is going to screw it in. So bring it all the way down, make it snug, and then thread the tool into the nutsert, and you'll feel it bottom. And actually when it bottoms, because of the roof skin underneath, it's gonna actually start wanting to pull this guy out. So back it off a little bit, and then you're gonna twist this guy out until it reaches tension. There are many different options for installing riv nuts and tensioning them. You can use a lever type. They even make pneumatic or electronic ones now, but I'm a big fan of this guy. It allows you to keep your wrenches and your leverage force close to the tool, eliminating any of that wiggle that can really affect how strong these guys bite. These tools will be available on the website for purchase. If you already have one of your own, you don't need this, but I have found them to work really well. Take your 7/8, and this is where it is pretty crucial to keep things as on axis. We don't want to be coming off axis while we're doing this. So lock down the bottom position and slowly start advancing, which is going to pull the riv nut up on itself. You'll know when it's done, you'll feel it. Slow and steady. There we go. I can feel it snugging down. Now to back off. Just a touch. And remove the tool. And there you have your riv nut. A nice, secure mounting spot for the rack. So let's throw the rack up here and I'll show you guys how this is going to fit. The rack ships with these rubber bumpers, washers. Now, this is to just provide some shock relief and just some dampening on there. They're not necessary. If you don't want to run them, you don't need to. There are a handful of guys out there who I want to say thank you for pushing me to produce this. There's a couple of you guys who've been emailing me every other month or so just asking when it was going to be available, and I'm super stoked to be bringing this to you guys. It took a few iterations to get it right. We've changed the extruded aluminum size, we changed different roof fixation techniques, and what you see before you is the culmination of all that hard work. I'm really happy with how it's come out, from its lines on the Squarebody to its stability to its ease of install. I'm working on a full roof rack that will continue the front bracket lines but extend over the rear of the front door, giving you a roof rack option to carry recovery gear, other accessories like that. I can't wait to get this into more people's hands. Like I mentioned earlier, it is available for purchase right now over on merricksgarage.com. Go ahead and take a look. Shoot me any questions you have, james@merricksgarage.com, and I will address any concerns and questions. And I look forward to seeing you guys out on the trail. Have a good one. Merricks Garage.